I love the game. You don't love the game. I'm sorry to tell you. This is a lie. Nobody loves all aspects and all facets of basketball. In fact, most players that I played with at a high level hate a lot of the elements of the game. Really, this isn't rocket science. You're just being sold a load of garbage. Guys, use your head. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. You know I got a great video for you today, like always. Today we're going to talk about the over-fetishized notion of loving the game and what children are made to believe, which is that they have to love basketball in order to be successful in the game. And I'm going to tell you why it's not true and why, if you explore the details that are involved in this, you're going to see that it's obviously a lie. So stick around for the whole video. I got a lot of good veteran points to lay on you. So we're talking about loving the game, and these two words are always tied into basketball: love and basketball, right? It's like you got to have an extreme passion for the game. You got to be a diehard for basketball. It's got to run in your blood. Your blood has to boil for the game, and you have to love basketball. I'm not going to get in this video today about loving an inanimate object or loving a game. That's for another time. What I'll talk about today is this. You don't always love all parts of basketball, and you never love some parts of basketball. Now let's put it in terms of like a significant other, for like a woman, for example. Everyone has their type of woman that they like, and your particular significant other, you probably like parts of her better, physical parts of her better, parts of her personality better. And if somebody else was dating her, they would admire different sides of her than you do. And the same is the truth with basketball. You are going to enjoy the game for different reasons than other people, and you need to know this, because those points are going to be what motivate you to get in the gym and give your all. If you don't know why you love basketball, then you're going to fall short of being able to talk yourself into getting your butt in the gym, getting your butt in the weight room, or why you're doing any of this to begin with. And if it's just constantly for this blanket statement of I love the game, you're going to fall short because you don't love the game. I'm sorry to tell you. This is a lie. Nobody loves all aspects and all facets of basketball. In fact, most players that I played with at a high level hate a lot of the elements of the game. I couldn't have believed it when I was a kid, but a lot of pro basketball players don't even like basketball in general. If you ask them, do you love basketball? They'd say, I don't like basketball. Or they'd say, I hate basketball. Or most of them would say, look, most of it's good, it's a net positive, but there's a lot about the game that I really could do without and I really don't like. And this is the truth. You need to start being honest with yourself about your relationship with basketball. You need to stop fetishizing it. You need to stop listening to morons that never played, that never trained at a high level, never played at a high level, and are trying to tell you you got to love the game. It's not true. So here's what you need to do. You need to find out which parts of the game you do love. Which parts of the game cause your blood to boil. Parts is the key word, not the game. Which parts of it? And again, we're going to go into more detail, because what is the game? Well, the game is inseparable from your life. So now, instead of looking for parts of the game that you love, you're going to look for parts of your life that you love when you're engaged in the game. So to give you some examples, I'm going to tell you mine. Machine gun, sprinting, dunking, and lifting. Those are the main elements of basketball and basketball life that I have loved, that I've been a diehard about since I was 10 years old. That's what I fell in love with: machine gun, sprinting, and lifting. And those are the elements that have carried me through 25 years of grueling work, marathon after marathon after marathon. Becoming a professional basketball player is like running an Ironman every single month, every single year, for 10 years on end with no pay. And then that's where it starts, because that's where you first start to cash checks. After that, you got another Ironman every month, every year, for 10 years. So it's not a joke. You need to find something that you can dig your claws into, that you can wrap your hands around the neck of and say, I will never let go of this. I love this. And I promise you, that's not basketball. Basketball will never be that for you. You need to find the parts of the life and the game that you love. So what is so special about machine gun, sprinting, and lifting? Well, nothing. But for me, that's what I loved. You need to find what you love. How stupid is it that I fell in love with machine gun? You know what this stupid drill is? This drill is ridiculous. It's such a tiny part of the game. For most people, it's not even a part of the game. It has nothing to do with basketball. You could do machine gun if you played soccer. You could do machine gun if you don't play sports at all. But I loved it. I loved sprinting. One of my favorite things to do was to find the perfect decline hill and run wind sprints down it, and just feel myself getting faster month after month, year after year, picking up speed, becoming more explosive. I'm in the middle of a sprint and I'm turning my legs legs over and over, and I find a new gear, and boom, I take off and explode, even in the middle of a sprint. I love it. I will never get over it. Sprinting has been a passion of mine my whole life, and almost nobody knows it. The fact that I'm sharing it with you right now is among the first times I've shared it with anybody. But sprinting is what got me through. And the last one is dunking. What has dunking meant to me as a basketball player? Well, among these three cornerstones of my love for the life and game, dunking was probably the biggest one. I love to dunk. Why? I like to break things. I like to destroy things. I like to do explosive things that require a huge amount of effort in a tiny amount of time, and then I can chill and rest on my laurels and say, wow, what an amazing thing I just did. See, I'm a sprinter. I'm not a long distance runner. I'm an explosive player. I'm not a finesse, run you around 50 screens player. That's how I am temperamentally as a person. You see, there's a connection between the way that I like to play and the elements of the game and life that I fall in love with. I like to play explosively, so the things that I fall in love with are explosive actions. Machine guns, sprinting, dunking. These are explosive actions that are conducive to my particular temperament. It's as unique as my personality, and you have your own unique personality. So it's time for you to find the parts of the game and the life that speak to those parts of your personality and are going to bring it out of you time after time after time. And what's going to happen is those elements will be the backbone. They'll be the stop loss when everything else is going wrong, when you don't want to play anymore, when you're too injured to continue, when you decide, I don't even like basketball. Those are going to be the elements that force you to get back in the gym because you have no choice but to love them. Loving something is not a choice. And if you go through your basketball life having to convince yourself that you love the game, then you don't love it. Love is not a choice. I love to sprint. Nothing will ever stop me from sprinting, ever. I want to sprint till the day that I die. Nothing will ever stop me from dunking. One of my goals is to be able to dunk my entire life, believe it or not. I want to be on my deathbed and tell my nurse, I'm getting out of this bed, so unhook me from this IV because I got some dunks to throw down. That's legitimately one of my goals. I got to stretch a lot to do it. I'm going to be like 90 throwing down dunks. The point is, I love these elements, and you will never get to a place where you find the elements you love if you continue to subscribe to this Disney garbage that you need to love basketball. Stop thinking you need to love basketball. It's a lie. And just like somebody telling you that you should love a particular person that you don't love, you can't force something like that. So stop trying to force it. This is one of the hang-ups that's preventing progress for you. Find the particular elements that you love, and they don't have to be things involved in the game. They can be things involved in the life. Like, I'll give you some second-tier things that I love about the life of basketball. I love being in the gym alone at night. I love when the lights are off and all I can see are a little flicker of the hoop and some glare coming off the court at a few select spots. I can hear the ball echoing off the arena walls, and the whole scene looks like some dystopian art project. I just love it. It's always felt to me like an aesthetic nightclub, and finding just the right gym that appeals to my aesthetic preferences has been a joy of mine. I go to a new city, I play for a new team. I like to get in the gym at night and see how it looks. How does it sound? How does it feel? It has nothing to do with basketball. It has nothing to do with shooting threes in there. It has to do with how does the light from the shot clock reflect off the backboard at midnight? How does the light from the windows come in? Do I get to see natural light reflecting into the gym from outside? So you might think all this is nonsense, and who cares about light reflecting off the backboard at night? Why don't I just get up the right amount of reps and make sure my shot is right so that I can produce in a game, and that'll solve everything? It won't. It won't solve everything. You know why? Because you're not going to get in the gym to get those reps up. If you're falling down this rabbit hole of needing to love the game and that being what motivates you to get in the gym, it's never going to happen. You need to find the real thing that motivates you. What's real? You need to be honest about this. Stop subscribing to this Disney fairy tale. It's garbage. It's going to get you nowhere. That's why you're here listening to me and not some trainer that just played in high school. That's why you're listening to me. Stop listening to these people that tell you you need to love the game. You don't. You need to find the pieces of the game that you love, the pieces of the life that you love, and then you need to cling to those with a death grip. You need to put your hands around the neck of those things and say, I'll chase them to my grave. Just like I told you, I'm going to dunk from my deathbed. I'm chasing these things to my grave. And guess what? They took me from amateur to pro. They took me through an Ironman every month for a decade before I ever cashed a check. You need to find these things. Find them for yourself. Find the things that you love, and don't be ashamed of what they are. I've almost never talked about these things to anybody because they're so silly. I'm only sharing them with you now because you need to find those silly things for you. And if they're too silly for anyone else to hear, then screw those other people and keep them to yourself. For me, most of my basketball journey was about keeping all of this stuff to myself, because if I ever told anybody, they would laugh at me. If I ever told older guys, the guys on varsity, they would laugh at me. If I told my older brothers, they would laugh at me. If I told players that I was competing with, they would laugh at me. If I told my teammates, they would laugh at me. But guess who's laughing now? So take what I'm telling you, go home and implement it. Find what you love about the game. I'm gonna give you a few more small examples of things that you might be in love with that you don't even know. Maybe you love having an excuse to wake up in the morning and go to the gym because there's something about being up early and smelling coffee and getting to see your father just before he goes to work that just makes you feel good. Maybe you love putting together a playlist and putting on your headphones, listening to music in the gym when nobody else is around, being in control of that situation and having the excuse to be alone. Maybe you love getting dressed up. Maybe you love the swag of basketball and choosing which socks go with which headband and which cutoff t-shirt goes with which shorts. I particularly don't like any of that stuff, but maybe that's your thing. Maybe you love elbowing people. I do. Maybe that's just a passion of yours, getting physical and pushing guys around. Maybe you don't even like to dribble the ball or shoot the ball. You just like to bully people. And in that whole process, you're gonna have to get really good at dribbling and shooting in order to have the excuse to continually hit people in the game. So you see how your other loves on the side of the game, they contribute to creating the real elements of your game that allow you to be productive on the court. This is real stuff, guys. This is the meat of what you need to learn to go from amateur to professional. But today's only a tiny ingredient. I'm giving you little tools in your tool belt, little things that add up. Once you get 1,000 of them, 10,000 of them, you can start to act like a pro. You can start to act like a veteran, even though you're only in high school. You can start to get away from the stupid nonsense that trainers are trying to fill your head up with and waste all your time with and waste all your energy with. Are you sick of being in the gym for hours and hours and making no progress? I was. I always have been. And I'll be eternally mad at all the people who promised me that they could help me and never were able to deliver because they never had been there before. I've been there. Machine gun, sprinting, dunking. These are the things that I truly loved. Good luck, guys. And as always, I wish you guys all the luck in the world. All I want for you is to improve. And if you listen to me today, I know you will. And with all that said, it's midnight here, so you know what I gotta do. I gotta get in, baby. Let's go.